great customer service is to do more than people ask us for. If you're only going to do what people ask you for, that is crappy service. Providing more service than people asked you for to begin with, because here's the reason why, guys. Consumers only know a paintbrush and maybe masking tape and a ladder. That's and that's all they know. They think, hey, let's get the bedroom painted, and I don't want to do it myself because I make a mess. That's all they know. So a
Yep.
professional painter knows a lot more about decorating and painting because you do it every single day, right?
Welcome to the Painter Growth Podcast, where we help you scale your painting company in record time. Join us as we explore sales, marketing, hiring, finances, leadership, and more, everything that you need to know to scale and grow your painting business. I hope you enjoy and subscribe.
All right. What's up, everyone? Michael Hickman here, founder of paintergrowth.com, and you're listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. And I am joined here, special episode today, really excited about this one, with Mr. Joe Crisara, America's service coach, founder of Service MVP. Got a ton of books, 3 books, right? 3 books now?
First of all, Mike, thanks for inviting me here. I really appreciate you making the effort to reach out and allow us to be here so we could talk to the painting and decorating professionals in the country that make the interior and the exterior of homes beautiful. So definitely, we'd love to be here with that. And the most recent book we have is our Amazon bestseller, What Should We Do? How to win clients, double profits, and grow your home service sales. It's got 23,000 copies sold on Amazon and through our marketing channels, and it's changing
Awesome.
lives every day. So that's now the most recent book, and we are very proud of that. And it's changed a lot of lives. So we're definitely here to help the painting professionals in this country and around the world to be able to achieve the same thing, Mike.
Cool. And so we were just chatting briefly before, and a topic we kind of landed on. I mean, everyone probably already saw it on the headline, but I'm very curious about it, and I love the concept of pricing. So we're going to chat about kind of the science of pricing and how to use pricing to gain trust and maximize profitability.
Yeah, let's do that. That'd be great. I think it's a great subject, and I think probably long overdue in the painting world. And I think in a way, painters have already, by accident, done some of this, but they just haven't made it into a system, which could be done every single time they have an opportunity. So we can help them elevate. Maybe as a result of this podcast, it could be one of the most important things they've ever heard. So they can, the average company would increase the sales of the service that you offer by at first about 2.78 times more, but down the road, if you do it for about a year and you embrace the science of pricing, it can definitely turn it into 5 times to 10 times the amount of revenue and sales, and most importantly, profit. Because the when you start stacking up services one on top of the other, the job becomes much more profitable as opposed to having to go to a different job every day. It'd be
Yep.
great if we could just stay at the same one all day and just do more there at the same home. That's what we believe in.
Yeah, there's definitely a cost in switching projects. So increase in average job size, average order value, ticket size. Those are super valuable. And Alex Hormozy, if you're familiar with him, he's a
Hmm.
big proponent of pricing being your biggest lever to increasing profitability. For example, if you are running a 10% profit margin and you increase your price by 5%, all else being equal, that 5% increase in price will bring you to a 15% increase or a 50% increase in profit. So going from
Hmm.
10% to 15% is a 50% increase in profit just by
It is,
increasing
yeah.
price by 5%.
That is good. Yeah, and I think that's the gap, Mike. The reason why we're having this meeting is because I think we all know the cost of materials, the cost of insurance, the cost of even getting a truck. I mean, before, you remember back in the old days, we could get a truck, pick up a truck for 15, 20,000. Good luck on that, right? And
75, 80, 90.
you got to fly to Houston to go get one or whatever happened, flood damage to be even.
Now, before we jump into the pricing stuff, I just want to learn a little bit more about you. Now,
Mhm.
you used to run a home service company. What type of company did you run?
Well, I had my own electrical, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, and it turned into other things too, like handyman type
Sure.
of service and stuff like that. So we did a bunch of other stuff. So once we had a model that was successful, I would just put it this way: the first 7 or 8 years in business, I almost drove it under, went under. It's like the story of that is actually in the book. And then it took me about 4 years using the science of pricing, to dig me out of a hole. I was about $500,000 in debt. And 4 years later, after applying the things I'm going to teach on this podcast, I was debt free by December of by January of 1991, I was $471,000 in debt. By December of 1994, I was debt free because of applying these things. And so I'll
I love it.
show people how to get a lot of traction and some of the additional services that they can offer that are not even things that are being done on the job, but future services that could be offered for painting professionals that could be added very easily and that consumers find very popular. So.
Now, in your bio that you shared with us, when things looked bleak, you had an aha moment that changed your life. What was that aha moment? I'm
Well,
curious.
I had one of my when I was almost at 471,000 in debt, and all my employees quit me because I had 15 guys and they all left because I couldn't make payroll, and I only had one guy who was too stupid to quit. He believed in me. And his name was Glenn. He's like, I'm still going to stay, come to work. And I said, done. I don't have any money to pay you. And he goes, that's okay. I know you're going to come back. And so he stood with me. So I trained him how to be from an installer into a service technician for HVAC, and I was training them. And I was at a house. There's only two of us. I had 15 trucks, but only two of us working because of no office staff or anything anymore. So I imploded. They call that, right? Couldn't afford anything. So I was just too stupid to quit myself, and Glenn was too stupid to not to show up and not, even though he wasn't getting paid. So
Yeah.
thank God I was too stupid because I would have quit. So I didn't quit, you know. And so what I did is I went to a call with Glenn, and one of my clients, the name was Dave. Dave said, "Hey, Joe, I've seen you for a few years. How's business going?" I said, I lied and I said, "It's going great, Dave." And he goes, "Really? Because I noticed you got 15 trucks and they don't move anywhere. So what's going on? Tell me the truth." So I told him what's going on. I blamed the economy. I blamed the Democrats and Bill Clinton. I blamed, my wife who was divorcing me. I blamed everybody. And he goes, "Joe, there's somebody you're missing that you haven't blamed yet." I said, "Yeah, my wife's mother, right? So she should take the." He goes, "No, it's not your wife's mother. It's you. You haven't taken responsibility for this." He goes, "I can tell you what you're doing wrong." And he showed me, because I used to do a thing where I tried to find a price that would kind of profile customers in a way and try to figure out what they're going to spend, find a
If they
budget,
have a
if you
nicer
will.
car, you charge them a bit higher.
Yeah, and then I'd find out what other people were charging and try and charge a little lower. That was my pricing method before. It was no science behind
Scientific.
it. It was just it was pathetic. And so Dave taught me the science of pricing. He was a pharmaceutical salesperson and ran a pharmaceutical company. And he told me how he does it. And he said, "Joe, I went to Harvard University. Here's what they taught me." And what they showed me was the science of making pricing. He's how to find my break even and make sure that the price is profitable to begin with for any project I would do. And number two, to make sure that when we do this, that we offer people choices. And there's a certain method of offering choices we're going to talk about here today, which turned my entire situation around. And since then, we have over 33,000 companies in the trades that use our services, and they have all had that same aha moment. And I probably personally have done about maybe 500 or 600 businesses that I was involved with throughout the years of consulting for 24 years, since 2001. And I probably turned those companies around just by getting the thing I'm teaching you here today. So you're going to get a lot of value from this. And get your pen and paper, and take some notes, because it's going to be a fountain of gold nuggets are going to come out of my mouth that definitely work every time if you're smart enough to use it. I can tell you that, Mike.
Perfect. We got some smart listeners, especially if they've been listening for a little while here. So
Right, right.
why don't we start with science of pricing? So where should we start with this topic? I mean, what's usually the first place to go?
Well, first I think number one is to find the right price. Like, how do I know my price is right? Well, here's how you know. You basically take your direct labor and all the direct materials you buy. So you look at your checkbook, right, and say, let's just find out how much I should be charging. That's kind of the first. How do I find my break even? And then I can add profit to it, right? So basically, what you do is you say, let's get rid of the direct materials and direct labor that I pay people in the field for, even my own payroll if I'm out in the field. And then you take all the materials for the field, not for your office or where overhead. And then the rest of it is overhead. And so what you do is you say, how am I going to distribute this overhead and all the stuff, all the expenses I had for the whole year, and you divide it by 52, and you divide that by the amount of hours available. And I have actually a calculator if you want to get one that shows you how to find your break even. Here's one thing I will tell you: for every hour we're working in the field and doing some painting a home or prepping a home and things like that, there's another hour that we're not working. We're driving, we're getting lunch, we're talking to customers, we're talking to our family, we're going to get the materials. So the painting business is a very inefficient business, and you can't really make the business only so efficient. And you need to charge both for the applied time and you need to charge for the unapplied time. So most likely, if you figure that we need to charge $150 an hour, you're probably wrong. You probably really need to charge $300 an hour because you have to get the unapplied time that it took to go do everything in the background, on top of the fact that we have to do things on the job. So understand that you're probably selling yourself too short, like I was. That's what happened to me. It drove me into debt, and I had a couple accounts that didn't pay me, and that's why I wound up in debt. So number one, let's
I
get
mean,
the
I'm
price
sure that
right.
we
So
have guys that are on this are listening to this today who are working as hard as they can and doing as much as they can and still ending up at the end of the week with no money.
yeah, we don't want that. We want to make sure that, listen, you're giving your time away from your family and giving it to other families. For that investment in time, you deserve to get compensated with the best return on investment. That's what's in my heart, my higher purpose, Mike. That's why I'm here on this podcast. It's not for me because I have in my heart, I want people to get compensated for their family. So the family has resources, education, vacations, housing, transportation, everything that's needed. You should have the finest if you're doing it as a professional. Make sense? So that's that part of it there. So I believe that if you're not making money, you could just use your checkbook. If you're not stacking up dollars, that means you're not making profit. And you don't listen to your accountant when he says, "Oh yeah, you made a 10% net profit last year." You're like, "Where's the money?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of in the wash." It's like, no, there's no wash. Either you're stacking dollars and making a profit, or you're not stacking dollars, right? And that's really
Yeah.
what it comes down to. Because here's what I can tell people: in the painting business, nobody wastes money and throws it away in the garbage. I mean, if you have an addiction like gambling or something like that, okay, I can see that's where your profit went. But if you don't have that and you still don't have any money, most likely you're probably underpricing your services, right? And so we'll show you how to kind of overcome that and how to charge what you need to charge and be proud of it and to give people a range of solutions so people have a choice that's right for them. We'll show you how to do that today. Make sense?
So to clarify that, you take your annual overhead or your monthly
Hmm.
overhead.
You take everything the whole year and just say, how many hours do I have to sell this stuff? And just take all the expenses that are going to hear say and say, I need to divide the overhead and my direct labor and say those two things together, I need to divide it by the amount of hours I have available to work and say that's what we need to charge by the hour. So it usually comes up probably about $300 an hour if you start looking at it. If you're paying anybody any decent money, $25 an hour or whatever, something like that. Start putting it there with the government and the taxes, everything that goes with it. The expense that for insurance and things like that, which when you're doing painting is a really biatch, right? It's like the insurance guy usually makes more than you do for vehicle insurance, workman's comp, liability, and
Yeah.
medical insurance. He's making more. He's making probably making 20% of every dollar. So that's a cost that's going to go into everything right there, right? So if you're running a legitimate company, if you're running a side job company, well then you work out your own way of doing it. That's a
Yeah.
different story. But if you got a legitimate place with a location and you got a phone number, you got advertising, you got yourself some overhead. You got to make sure you're paying for the overhead and all the direct labor, and the materials can be priced into the jobs after that. But we'll go over that. I have a calculator. It's kind of complicated, but I'd be happy to give you a calculator if you want to go to text
Cool.
me
Yeah,
or
we
I
can
could
put that we can
tell
put
you.
that in the description below if you have a link for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, do something like that. I'd be happy to give that to you there in Service MVP for sure. So the science of pricing, here's what Dave taught me, the bottom line. How did I get out of debt? 471,000, because back in 1991, that's like $2 million it was in debt, back then. And everybody told me to go bankrupt. You're not going to get out of this. And so what he showed me is this. He says, he showed me the study by Harvard University that said the science of tiered pricing, TIER, the tier of pricing. He goes, if you offer one price to a customer, you calculate a price and figure it out and you calculate it. Um, that most likely the client is going to need to shop around because they don't have enough information. You only gave them the one price. So the closing rate on you give people the price. And by the way, painters out there are famous for emailing the price, which I disagree with completely. The science of pricing is not to email a price. The faster you can come up with a price, the more competent you look as a professional. So if you go look at a house and go look at your painting something, don't say, all right, let me go back to my office and I'll send you a quote tomorrow. Guys, that's the kiss of death. So don't do that anymore. So understand, if you painted a 3-bedroom house before, you know what it cost. Why are you going to go figure it out? And then we'll talk about how you can build the services to create more value in a second. But guys, take an avatar of different houses you've done before. You're like, how do I know what to charge? Well, because you've done like 80 jobs this year, go back and look at the ones you did and say, what's the average sale here? Yeah, 4-bedroom outside and inside is costing us 15,000 or whatever. That's it, right? And come up with a number that you think that was profitable. Well, there you go. Then you got it for yourself. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
so we do
Uh,
believe in presenting on the spot, and we share that heavily. Except for pricing paint jobs, it's not a little more scientific. We like to use production rates, so not even
yeah,
square
yeah.
footage, but like you
Yeah,
look
we'll
at
show,
like
we'll show
square
you how
footage of
we'll show
walls.
you can do it. Yeah, but the bottom line
Yeah,
is that the competency or the trust in the service provider, like this guy knows what he's doing. He came up with a price in about 15 minutes. Uh, shows that this guy's been down the street before a few times. But when the guy asks, like, "Hey, I could go back and figure this out." Like the first time you've ever done this, dude, how many houses do you paint per year, right? Oh, we do about 100 jobs a year, really, and then you got to go back to the office and figure it out. You can't just tell me now. Oh, just give me a ballpark, and then they're going to say you're making people push you on something like that, where you should have already anticipated. By the way, guys, you could go on Zillow and look at the house before you get there and kind of figure out what we're looking at here before you even got there. You could even have that price in today's world before you even got to the house. Makes sense? You could probably have a sense of what I'm going to be looking at for an interior like this, and then you might pivot. You have sort of a basic painting for a 3-bedroom house, a 4-bedroom house, single story, 2-story, you can start making avatars, like about 12 different home avatars, and say, here's what I'm looking at for my different choices. And now, if they want something different, like wallpaper or whatever, okay, we'll just add that in for a different extra thing there. Make sense? So don't be prepared. Don't act like it's the first time you've ever made a price, because that makes you look like an amateur and as opposed to a professional. Make sense there, Mike?
for
Number
sure.
one.
So to
Uh,
recap,
so-
basically
yeah.
get pricing as quickly as possible.
Yeah, the faster you go from looking at the home and connecting with your client, and then saying, "Well, let me go out to my truck and get the prices for you. I think I know what we're going to do here." And you go to your laptop and you open it up and you say, "Here we are, 3-bedroom, 1,200 square foot ranch house." Uh, so
Yeah,
we're going to go. I have different choices for you right now based on your family's needs, and they may be asking to paint only the baby's bedroom. Like, so you might get a request that says, "Yeah, we just want to paint the bedroom for the baby or whatever." Hey, how about we paint the hallway and the bedroom for the baby? They might say, right? That could be the initial request. So, guys, let me just put it this way: whatever the client is requesting is only the bottom option. That's the cheapest thing we're going to do. Now, there's different ways of even doing that to make it less money, and there's a way to do it the professional way that costs more money, where you do more service for the client. Does that make sense? But we'll go over a little bit about how that would work and go over how a painting professional would create premium, mid-range, and economy. Because if you only gave one choice, you'd have a closing rate of about 23%. If you gave good, better, and best choices, people would upgrade to the premium or mid range choice 40% of the time, and the closing rate would go to 38%. Then, if you gave premium, mid range, economy, you flip the numbers. Instead of starting with the cheapest option, you started with the premium option first and did 3 choices. You would have an 80% upgrade where people would go to the mid range or the premium option if they got the premium option first. That's called the anchoring effect. And then, if you gave 6 choices, 2 premium, 2 mid range, and 2 economy, you would have an 89% of the people upgrading to the premium or economy. Now, if you only offered one price, you'd sell it 23% of the time. If you offered those 6 choices, you'd have a 74% closing rate just out of the box. Premium mid-range economy, 3 choices is going to be about a 64% closing rate on those. And if you do good, better, best, you got 38% on that. So the lowest way to close is only give one price. And the reason why is when I give 6 choices, the client feels like I already got 6 estimates. Why go somewhere else? They've already given me 6 different choices. Why
They
keep
get to kind of
shopping?
pick how much they want to pay.
Yeah, they could. Anyway, name your price, right? That's like the price gun that Flo has on Progressive Insurance. In a way, you can pick
Where
the
did you
price
get
that's right for
that
you at the time.
that data? All like the 28%, 38%, 64%.
Well, there was a back in the day. I had it was in a Harvard Business Review manual book that was about 3 inches thick. I got from Dave back in 1991. But nowadays, you could chat GPT it. I mean, seriously, those studies that were done on tiered pricing were hidden under lock and key, and you had to go to Harvard University to get it in the Harvard library. And now you can just chat GPT what I'm saying. And by the way,
Wow.
we use Service Titan, and we teach over 33,000 people, so we have data up our yin yang about how this works and how those statistics bear out. Here's the
Yeah.
statistic. If you offer 2 premium, 2 mid-range, and 2 economy options, roughly 15% do the premium, 74% do the mid-range, and that's 89% doing the mid-range or a premium, and only 11% do the economy. And guys, let's go back to that one price. If you gave one price, that's the cheapest thing you could do. The client only picks the cheapest price 2% of the time. So if you only offer the cheapest price, you're going against the grain. It's the least popular of all the choices you would offer. So if you're trying to think, how can I save this guy money, like I was doing when I was failing, it's the exact opposite of what people want to do. Because when you paint or decorate your home, you want this thing to look good the first time. You don't want to have to do it twice. You don't want to have to keep breaking out and dry and taping the baseboard there. Like, hey, let's do the master bedroom now next month. Nobody wants to do that. They want to do it all now. Let's just get it done.
Yeah.
And by the way, world class service would be putting the client in a hotel and adding that to the price, so you could have put. I'm going to put you in a hotel for 3 days while we do the whole house. That's what we would do there too. Makes sense. So there's no end to the amount of service you could offer to that premium option if you wanted to. And understand this, guys, when you start saying that's going to cost a lot of money, Joe, I would say then don't forget to use financing or a bridge loan to make this affordable. Because you're right, a job that would normally take 15,000 do penning is probably going to be with all the stuff I'm talking about. I'll go get the paint. I'll make sure I do everything for you. I mean, it's probably going to be with a 12-year warranty and 12-year service agreement. So if something goes wrong, I'll come back and touch it up for you. That's probably going to be 35,000 for that job now. And you say nobody's going to pay that, Joe. Well, of course they wouldn't, because nobody offers it. But if you did 35,000 and you financed it over a 10-year period, it most likely would be about $219 a month, which is what you'd be charging for that. Does that make sense, here, guys?
Hmm.
So these are all the things that you need to learn in the science of pricing, which is in that book, which I highly recommend that. As a matter of fact, if you want a free copy of the book, just let me know, free book, and I'll get you just pay for shipping and handling, $9.95. The book is $25.99 on Amazon, but if you wanted to get one, I'd be happy to send it to you, because I really believe in what I teach, because it saved my life, Mike. Makes sense
Hmm.
there? So that's
Yeah,
really it.
man.
So the good, better, best is not the same thing as premium, mid-range economy. If you do good, better, best, you start with the cheapest one. Roughly 80% of the people are going to do that, and 40% go to the premium mid-range. If you start with the premium one, then 80% buy the top options, and only 20% buy the bottom one. Then, if you do the 6 of them, 2 premium, 2 mid-range, 2 economy, and you change the warranty and service on each one of them. By the way,
Yeah.
warranty and service would be a profit center. Listen to this, Mike. If you added warranty and service to your offering, you would add 38 to 42% more revenue at an 80% or plus gross profit to your company,
Yeah.
if you were to offer additional touch-up services and things like that to store paint and make sure you keep all the records on file, so people had that service if they wanted to touch up paint or paint another room the same color. You could have that service as a service agreement for them, with a warranty that would be including touch up on anything you want for the next 10 years. And you'd be putting that in your pricing as well there too. So that's all inside the book. And that's a profit center most people don't even think of. Like people will pay for that. Well, if no other painter is offering it and you're the only one offering it, they're like, wow, you do know nobody's doing this, right? I'm like, well, I'm doing it. And they're like, that's amazing that you do it. And can you lower the price? Yeah, let's just get rid of the warranty and the service, and you don't got to pay for that. We'll just lower the price by like 6,000. No, but I like that. All right, so what should we do? It's like that's what we say. What should we do? There's the whole thing there, right? So if you learn the science of pricing immediately, Mike, I'll tell you what happened to me when Dave taught me that thing. My first call I went on, I was totally skeptical. Like I'm in northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin. I'm like people in the out here in the dairy farm country, they're not gonna go for this stuff. I said, I told Dave, I'm like, Dave, you're a pharmaceutical salesman. People out here are cheap. I told him. Of course, I'm only looking at myself in the mirror when I'm saying that. Really, my consumer really wasn't cheap because what I did is I actually did what Dave said to do. And my very first call, I would have sold a $75 repair. Instead, I sold a $1,249 repair because my top option was $1,979 all the way down to 75, and the customer rejected the 75 and they rejected the 1979, but they bought the one right in the middle at 1249. The next one I had was a coupler on a pump. I said it was going to be 125, but I said I'm going to do all the pumps and everything. $3,800, and the guy bought the premium option. And in the very first week, Mike, I made enough money to pay off 3 credit cards. I made $14,000 on 6 calls that I did. I was like, "Holy crap. I can't believe it would have taken me to make 14,000 because my average sale was about $110. You know how long it would take me to make $14,000 on that? So, guys, I'm telling you something right now. I know you're not as bad as I was, thank God, because nobody should be as bad as that. But I can tell you right now, guys, I'm on a mission to make sure nobody has to go through financial troubles when they have a business like this because you put too much into it, your family sacrifices too much, and I want everybody here to be made whole on the effort they put out there. That's what I believe in this thing.
Awesome. So I like that. Have the different levels. I think there's definitely some learning there. So what's the next lever for profit, Joe?
Well, the next lever is to bring it to a conclusion. So if you make the prices and you make it personal, so everybody knows that you got to make a friend with a client. You're going to be in that house painting for a while, and you get to know. Here's my daughter's bedroom. Oh, may I ask what her name is? That's Melissa. Well, Melissa is lucky to have a mom like you. So you got to learn how to connect with people. And a lot of people who are painting professionals do know how to connect, so that's good. But what you probably don't do is you don't make the options more personalized. So if you use the customer's name in the option, so Science, we have Rilla, which does AI call monitoring. Here's what they found that when you use the customer's name in the options and you say, this is called the let's let Amy be proud of her home and her condo when her mom visits, complete platinum solution. We're going to paint every room of the house, the exterior of the house and the interior, and we're going to make sure that we use paint that's going to be friendly for your daughter Jessica to breathe. And using the names of the client in that presentation, the closing rates go up by about another 15%. So that thing where we said it was 74% winds up being about a 96% close rate because nobody is personalizing the solution like they should. So that's another thing you can use. The science shows that if you ask the people who do I have the pleasure of speaking with, like when I asked Mike gave me 3 names: Mike, Gore, Hickman. I chose Mike. I just took a chance at it. I didn't ask him what his name was. He has it right on the screen there. He didn't protest, so I just keep using it, right? But the more we use the first name, now there's a trade-off here. If you the more that you use the first name of the client on the call, up to 9 times per hour, hits the peak and your closing rate goes higher. If you use it too many times, then it sounds phony. Like I see he's using my name all the time, trying to make it sound like he knows me or whatever. It's kind of weird that he keeps using my name, right? So it's interesting how the science shows us by monitoring the calls that the closing rate goes up to 9, and that's the peak, and then stop using it at that point. So 9 times per hour would be the peak if you did that. Make sense? So that another thing
Yeah,
there.
you don't want to sound
Uh,
phony by overdoing it.
Exactly. That's what it says on that thing. And then finally, how to manage the project. If you put the time into building options, like say somebody wanted that one bedroom in the hallway painted, that's your bottom option. That's got a 1 year warranty to that. I'll give you 1 year and all the workmanship I did on that. No touch ups, just a 1 year warranty on that. Any workmanship, something paint chips off on its own, I'll come back out and touch it up and sand it up and touch it up for you, right? That would be there. Now you got the next one. Let's do the hallway and then the master bedroom and the baby's bedroom. That'd be the next one. And then let's do all the bedrooms, be the next option going up. And each one would have a more of a warranty, which you would price in there 1 year, 3 years, and now 5 years. And then you're going to
Yeah.
say, you know what? Let's paint the living room and dining room as well. And there you go. And now you're painting that part of it there and doing all that now, right? So you're now getting all that stuff done, adding that to the options going up. You could also offer to touch up different things or add the warranties and service up to as many as 5 years if you wanted to for painting. If you could do that, you could price it in there so you could say how many times will people call me to touch something up. If you want to figure going out there like once a year for like $500 a year, so just figure 500 times twice, is 2,500 more for 5 year warranty and touch up service or whatever I would do. I would store your paint information on my file. So if you needed to get the color, I would have it here. We have the brand name, we have the paint color and everything we need. We'll store that on file. So if you need that, I'll have all that data. So this way you don't have to have empty paint cans sitting around your garage. We'll just have it. We'll just store it for you. We'll just have that on file, so you don't have to store paint cans as extra paint and things like that. Make sense? Because that's really an amateur move that painters do. Like, here's all the paint cans. I'll leave them here. So if you want to touch something up, it's like, dude, you're already telling that's crappy service that I've been doing that. You should just take that crappy paint can with you and say, if you need to buy more paint, we'll buy another can for you. If something doesn't last, if it starts wearing out or whatever, we'll buy it ourselves. If you want to buy one, you could buy your own can of paint. You could buy a small pint of it if you want to. We'll have the color and everything on file for you, so you can just go buy it at Ace Hardware or wherever you want to buy that at Benjamin Moore or whatever you're going to do there. Make sense? So the bottom line is this, guys. These are additional services that you can price into the job that people will purchase. And how do I know it's popular? Because everybody I've ever trained to do this in the painting and decorating business said it wouldn't work, and then they tried it and they said, you know what, Joe, this is the thing they like the most. The fact that we're doing the extra service for them in the future, that's the part that they can't believe we do, actually. That's something that nobody's doing right now. Make sense on that? So that's kind of how you would build the option. So you can use your own technology on it, but basically whatever they ask you for, hey, let's just paint the garage on the exterior of the garage. Okay, we'll start with that. And then the next one would be, let's do the front of the house and the garage. And then let's do the other side of the house and the garage. And then the front and back of the house on would be would you kind of see what I'm saying there? You're just going to
Yep.
extend the solution and show them what it would do the whole job. Instead of trying to talk them into it, you just say, here's the premium way where we do everything. Here's the economy way, the one you asked for. Uh, Take the one that's right for you. And the key question: what should we do? And if they ask you, hey, what would you recommend I do? I'd say, well, if you want the whole house to match with the same color, front and back and sides, then we do everything. If you wanted just to do the garage and have it look a little different than the rest of the house, then we just do the garage. It's up to you. So what should we do? So there's no recommending or selling here. It's just about getting the price. If you get the prices right, Mike, everything else just kind of falls into place. Does that make sense, sir?
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't
Yeah.
it?
No, it definitely works, right? Pricing is a huge lever, and I really liked probably my biggest takeaway so far today was the having the multiple options. I'm a fan of having multiple options, but breaking down that much more and including the customizations in the options, I really like that. I thought that was a pretty um, cool way to do it. Not instead of just like selling to customized needs, actually including those customized needs in the pricing options.
Yeah. And then you just say the four magic words at the end. Here's the prices. What should we do? And they're going to say, okay, let me think about it. And you say, yeah, go ahead, take all your time. Take as much time as you want. I'll stay right here. What should we do? And they say, that's a lot of money for the top option. I know, but it has a lot of service in it for your family. So what should we do? Why did you offer me the extra service like that? Well, because you said you have your mom coming over to live with you, I want to make sure that you serve your mom. I want to make sure I'm here to serve you for the next 5 years. That's why I did that. So what should we do? Is this competitive? No, these are one of a kind options. Nobody would even think of these. Even I wouldn't have thought about it till last this week. So what should we do? So the what should we do is the way that brings it to a conclusion. It's called the law of expectation when you do the science behind it, Mike. Basically, you're going to manage the project by getting the job done, selling the job, losing the job, or getting the job rescheduled. That's what I always say. There's only three outcomes to every call. If somebody's like, I need to think about it, can I take a couple days on this? And I would say, sure. Are you interested or not interested at this point? I'm interested. Well, if you're interested, then there's two things we can do. We can schedule it to get the job done now, and then you can think about it before we get the job. Like we'll come back next week and do it. And I got all this week, from Wednesday through Friday to think about it. We'll start Monday, and then you could cancel if you want me to cancel before we come back. That's one thing we could do. Another thing we could do is to just schedule the job to get done next week, and or just reschedule it to come back and make a final choice if you want to, instead of getting the job done, come back and schedule to make the final choice. So which of those two things you want to do? Schedule the job to get done and you could cancel before I come back, or just schedule to make the final choice on Monday. What should we do? And they're going to say, yeah, might as well get the job done. Because guess what, guys? You'll be the only painter in all the estimates they got who actually offered to schedule this project. Get it through your thick skull, guys. Painters are famous for avoiding the scheduling. Like, again, not prepared. Oh, when can we get the job started? Oh, shit, really? Oh, let me check my schedule. I got to go back to my office again. Dude, there's nothing at the office that you don't have on your phone. Just be prepared before you go to the call. Have the pricing model set to go and look at your schedule and say, when can you start this project, right? Next Monday's open. Hey, when can you start the project? Well, if I said I could start it next Monday, what would happen then? Would be the way you answer to that. And they'd say, yeah, we just get the thing done Monday. All right, so what should we do? Yeah, let's get it done Monday again. Make sense?
Or an
So,
alternative is like, when can you start the project? When do you want the project to start?
yeah, well, can I get it done next week? Well, if I said I could clear my schedule for next week and get the job done next week, what would happen then? Yeah, we just do it next week then. See, the customer bought it by themselves without you having to push it. Does that make sense there,
Yeah.
guys?
Also,
Uh,
also, also the conditional sell, right? Like, hey, okay, so, oh, can you do any better on the price? It's like, okay, well, how much better do you think? Like, oh, if
Well,
you
here's
can
what
knock
we can do. How about, how
5%
about,
off,
how about this? How about this? Forget that, Mike. Go ahead and ask me, Joe. Can you do any better on the price?
can you do any better on the price, Joe?
Which price are you talking about, Mike? I got six prices. Which one do you mean? Tell me the top one.
Sure, the top one.
Yeah, I can easily lower the price, Mike. I have actually five options that are lower than that one. Which is your favorite one?
I want everything that's included in the top one, but just a little better deal.
You do? Well, I can tell you one thing, Mike. If you want a cheaper price, you'd be cutting corners on quality or reliability, or you'd be cutting corners on the service we offer. So I'd have to reschedule for a time when I could afford to do it then at my discretion. If you want it done at your discretion, at your scheduled time, then that's the investment it would take. So you want to just try to find a cheap, take some, why don't we take the warranty and service off? It's got 5 years. Hell, I can save you, you know, for 5 years, I can save you $2,500 on the job right there if you want to take the warranty and service off. See, by having the warranty and service for $500 a year, you have now got something in there you can take off and negotiate. But when you negotiate, there's no negotiating the price you're doing the same way you're doing it. You're just going to take off a service you're doing. But having the options is kind of pre-negotiating. It's just good service, Mike. The reason is this: people are going to want to negotiate. So when they want to negotiate, you have to think about the negotiation before they do and have the lower prices ready to go. Yeah, Joe, we can lower the price any way we want. We got five options that are less. What should we
Mm.
do? No,
Yeah,
I
that
like the
one,
top option.
having that many options kind of break through all the pricing objection.
Yeah, because put it this way, if you go to Best Buy and look for a flat screen TV, listen, they only got about mm, 18 TVs that are on display if you look at it really closely.
Yeah,
There's
any price that you want.
there's six 4 to 8K, there's six LED, and there's six plasma, which is the old technology. And they just ask you which way you want to do the new one, the TV of the future, the TV of the present, or the TV of the past. I want the 8K. Okay, we got six over here on that. Take a look at your favorite. Which one's your favorite one? We got the Sony, we got the Samsung, we got the LG. Here's all the different price points. What should we do? We've got one out of a box for $900. No, I don't want that one. Okay, so what should we do? Yeah, Can you explain that one for 3,500 bucks? That's a good choice. What do you like about that? Well, it says it's a smart TV and it comes with all the channels. All right, so what should we do? Yeah, just get that one. So here's the thing about it, Mike. If you go to Best Buy and you see like how many different TVs are you went to Amazon and said look up flat screen TV, probably 3 million TVs would come up. But you only got 18 in the store. But the illusion is all the TVs that are needed are right here at the Best Buy. And that's not even true. There's like, you go on Amazon, you put in LG, LG itself will probably have 600 TVs that you could get in different sizes and stuff like that. So even though Best Buy doesn't have all the TVs, the illusion is what am I going to do? Shop around and have some TV delivered? I haven't even seen what it looks like yet. That's why the TV, they're smart about that. That's why it is a more popular way of purchasing because you want to see the picture before you buy it. You want to see it before you buy it. But if you do know a good brand like LG and you bought it before, that's when Amazon would come in because now you bought that TV. Now you're going to want to get the bigger one, the same model. That may make sense at that point. Makes sense here. But if you're buying it for the first time, like painting is always being bought for the first time because it lasts for a long time. And by the time you did it, to 20 years from now, you probably haven't done it before or haven't done it for a long time. So when people do that, they're like, I don't want to shop around with 8 different painters. This guy's got 6 different choices already. Why am I shopping? He's got everything I need. Make sense here, guys? Good. Did I tell you it would be gold nuggets, Mike? Was I right or
That's
was
some
I
good.
right?
There's definitely some solid nuggets there. So what do you think? If you could just summarize what the top 3 takeaways should be from this that people should go and implement right away.
Well, number one, great customer service is to do more than people ask us for. If you're only going to do what people ask you for, that is crappy service. Providing more service than people asked you for to begin with, because here's the reason why, guys. Consumers only know a paintbrush and maybe masking tape and a ladder. That's that's all they know. They think, hey, let's get the bedroom painted, and I don't want to do it myself because I make a mess. That's all they know. So a
Yep.
professional painter knows a lot more about decorating and painting because you do it every single day, right? So if you know that they would be benefiting, if I'm going to drag out the paint and tape off stuff, and you're going to do a hallway on top of it, why don't we just do everything instead of just telling them? Lip service is saying, we could paint the whole house for 6,500 bucks or whatever you might say. That's just lip service. Real service would be writing it down. So write down the premium, mid-range, and economy choice. I'd say right off the bat, let's get started with 3 choices because 80% of the people will upgrade if you offer a more extended version of your service. So if somebody asks you for a bedroom or just paint the kitchen or just paint the living room, the top option we already know is painting the entire interior. Then the next one is painting more of the interior, the kitchen and the living and that half of the house in a way. Make sense? And then the
Yep.
next one is doing the bedrooms and keep going up like that. So the entire house is completely painted. You can add warranty and service to it if you want to. If you want to take my advice on that, which would be a whole nother profit center you're going to make on this job, do that. But bottom line, how about we give people 3 choices: one premium, one mid-range, and one economy, and see what happens. Well, what's going to happen is 80% of the people are going to buy more than you did before, and then your profit goes up because now we're on one job and not traveling to different jobs all the time. Make sense? Number two, don't forget to use the customer's name in the option to tell them why the customer would benefit by doing all the house. So don't just say, here's the whole house. So I just thought you would benefit from doing the entire home because Thanksgiving's coming up and I want your family to feel like this house has been restored, not just the bedroom. That's why I did that top option for you. I want to make sure your family is comfortable in the house and that you're proud of this house when the people walk in and visit your home. So that's the reason why people buy painting, is they want to be proud of their interior or exterior of their house. Make sense, guys? And number three, what should we do? Let's make sure we manage the project. Here's the prices. It's for your family. What should we do? And just keep saying what should we do until people get the project done. Don't forget to have your pricing models set to go before you go there. Go on Zillow, look it up, and start getting the pricing figured out before you get to the house. Premium, mid-range, economy. And then, guys, be ready to know when I can schedule the job so you're not grasping at straws when somebody asks you about scheduling the job. Because I'll tell you one thing, I have been a consumer of your services. Uh, Probably 15 times owning different commercial places and my own home. I've had 6 and 48 years of living in different places I purchased, I've had probably 18 times I've had to hire a professional painter. And I can tell you right now, they are the worst at scheduling the job, and they are the worst at warranties and services. I mean, most of the painters I call are like, hey, go get your own paint and we'll do it for you. It's like, dude, Uncle Joe doesn't want to go get paint. You go get the paint. Why don't you bring me
Yeah,
a color chart
we're
and I'll
working on
pick them?
fixing that.
Bring me a color chart and I'll pick it out and you go get it. Okay. That's what I would,
Yep.
that's service. Service, if you guys are telling your customer, hey, let's store the extra paint here, you're giving them a job. Stop doing that. Provide that service and just charge for it and people will purchase it. That's my advice.
Love it. So Joe, how
All
can
right.
people get a hold of you?
You can go to servicemvp.com and you could get free training on there. If you want to get a book on Amazon, you can. If you want to do this, if you want a free book, that would only be, if I think it's $9.95 for shipping and handling. The book costs $25.99 if you want to look it up on Amazon. What Should We Do is the name of the book. You can get that book for $9.95. I'll send it to you from our office here in Culver City, California. If you want to call, if you want to email me, you can email me at joe@servicemvp. If you want to put free book in there, I'll make sure we arrange for that for
Can you
you
just get
and
me a
get that
link?
with
Get
you.
me a link to put in the podcast. We'll do that.
Yeah, I'll get that for you. Just put
Okay.
joe@servicemvp.com, code free
Perfect.
book
Very good.
on the subject line. Make sense?
Love it.
Keep it
Awesome, Joe. Hey
simple.
man,
Okay,
thanks for coming on.
the KISS principle. We'll keep it simple. Make sense?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
I hope you had as much fun as I did on this one. Did you?
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It's good meeting you, and it's good chatting. And I think that we got some knowledge bombs there. So appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys. Have a great one, everybody.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. If you want to grow your painting business, go to www.paintergrowth.com or click on the top link in the description. Talk soon.